everyone, I'm the Tax Pro, and today I'm going to show you QuickBooks Online, the new layout, and how we navigate as it relates to sales. So this is kind of be a down and dirty quick overview. I am going to have videos for each of these features separately so that this video can kind of be a little bit more concise and not take up a ton of time and show you a bunch of features that you don't necessarily want to use. But this is the dashboard. This is the new 2025 layout from QuickBooks Online. They have changed things up on us. It looks a lot more confusing than it used to be. So kind of a quick rundown of what's up here. These right here are all the apps. So this lives in the My Apps section. You can navigate to each of these anywhere in QuickBooks Online to the left-hand column where it says My Apps. Okay, so you can just come here to My Apps and then navigate here. That's what lives up here. So you can always navigate to those without having to come back to the dashboard. You're gonna have some create actions, but those create actions also live in this plus create button. This has replaced the plus new button. So that nice big green button that we had in the upper left-hand corner is now plus create. It's this tiny little icon now. And it lives in that left-hand menu. You're gonna notice that this is very, very similar layout to what that plus new button kind of dropped down, which is nice because it's very familiar. So let's kind of dive into the sales apps. There's two of them now. So there used to just be one area where we went to sales and get paid, and now we are gonna have Customer Hub and then sales and get paid above it. The Customer Hub is where we have a lot of changes. So the Customer Hub, I'm gonna kind of show you the overview here. What QuickBooks did is it said, we know you're using QuickBooks Online. We also know that you're using CRMs. We're gonna give you an interactive CRM right here in QuickBooks Online that is more comprehensive than what you have had. When you look at the overview, you're gonna see an area for open leads, open estimates, in progress, on paid, and reviews. And so now QuickBooks Online is kind of bringing in these features where you have, post-invoice surveys, you can look at referrals, and you can look at reviews and testimonials, okay? You can also look at leads. So when we click here on leads, it's gonna allow you to connect your email and Outlook and all that good stuff. QuickBooks essentially has a new AI agent that's gonna scan that, find leads, and then summarize statuses and respond quickly. So they're really putting a lot of AI into QuickBooks Online. You're gonna see that as like a common theme here. Or you can go in and you can manually add these leads. Once you add a lead, it's gonna live here in the lead section, and then you can track notes on those leads. You can track opportunities for those particular leads. You can then convert that lead to a customer, okay? This area can be a little bit glitchy, so just use caution using the lead function, and that you're not just kind of leaving all of your data there and it's not kind of recorded elsewhere as well. Okay, for right now at least. The leads, it's a new feature, so just make sure that you're paying attention and you don't kind of lose data when you're transferring leads from things like a lead to a customer. I've seen that kind of be glitchy and then it drops the lead, and then if you don't have that data saved somewhere, it's kind of like in the ether of QuickBooks Online and we don't know where it went. So that's the lead section. The customer section, this is gonna look just like your old customer area. Very, very similar. It's got this, kind of, I don't know what this is doing up here. Sometimes you'll like pop in and QuickBooks Online will just completely change things on you. But you can kind of see this new view, so to speak. And we don't have that table up there, or you can go here and we have this table. So customers, it looks the same. If you were able to navigate it before, you'll be able to navigate it now. Estimates, same thing. Estimates looks very, very similar. You would see all of your estimates here and be able to convert those estimates into invoices. So that's not different. Now we have this contract section. QuickBooks is essentially saying, hey, you can create contracts in QuickBooks Online, send it to your customers to get signed, and you get a nice little PDF document of that contract. So they are essentially replacing kind of like an Adobe Sign or something along those lines right here within QuickBooks Online. Again, make sure that if you do that, you are downloading those PDF documents because this is a new feature. I just always worry about that with those new features. Appointments, you can go in, this is a beta feature, So you can schedule your appointments. You can keep your appointment book in here for you and your staff. Really nice to help manage that work. Again, making sure that you've backed up those appointment times elsewhere. We also have this reviews feature. So QuickBooks Online now have the ability to send surveys through it. So you can send surveys to customers that you've done work for. You can ask for their feedback, ask them to provide some sort of satisfaction rating, and then give some context as to why. So this is really nice, this survey section. This customer hub is essentially acting as a CRM. So QuickBooks Online has said, we're going to take CRM features, we're going to put it into QuickBooks Online, we're going to give you a more feature-rich sales process to really help you make money, okay? Now, so that's the customer hub. Let's look at the sales and get paid section. Sales and get paid looks very similar. You're going to notice, though, that the sales and get paid section has really emphasized payments. It has really emphasized the QuickBooks Payments feature. There's a lot of sections that are going to allow us to use QuickBooks Payments easier. This is the overview. It's going to give you the sales and get paid funnel. So we're going to look at, payment requests, not paid, paid, and deposited. It's going to give you a nice little look at income over time, so you can kind of see how your revenue varies. Obviously, this is a fake company, so this is going to be real wonky, right? And then it's also going to allow you to sign up for QuickBooks Payments. I personally like QuickBooks Payments, so I might be a little bit partial, but it is a nice feature. Sales transactions. This is going to look similar to what we've had before, where we have this sales transactions page. You're going to see estimates on billed income, overdue invoices, open invoices, recently paid. We're going to have that nice little bar on the top that gives us all that information. And then we can go through and see all these sales transactions. So you're not just going to have invoices in here, right? You're going to have payments, you'll have sales receipts, credit memos, all that good stuff. It's going to live here in sales transactions. We're then going to have an invoice section. So this is going to show you all of those invoices that are there. Now the invoices can be seen in sales transactions too. It's just this invoice section has just your invoices there, okay? And remember, like invoices, we may need to chase down payment, so it's kind of nice that they separate it out into this separate section. Payment links. So if you have QuickBooks Payments, you can literally text your customers and you can let them know, hey, here is a link to pay me. You can also use the text, you can send it like via email or something along those lines. There's also a feature to get a QR code, and then if you get paid, QuickBooks essentially creates a sales receipt for each of those payments that comes through from those payment links, okay? So this wouldn't be something to where like you're sending an invoice. This would be a link to actually just receive payment. It doesn't have to be linked to an invoice. If you are trying to get paid on an invoice, you would send the invoice. Recurring payments, this allows you to set up like a recurring payment from a customer that's automatically going to be run. Again, you need to make sure that you have QuickBooks Payments for this. This is another payments feature. But essentially what you do is you say, okay, this is the parameters that I want this recurring payment to match. You're going to send this to your customer, and your customer is going to go in and say, okay, I accept these payment terms. Here's my payment information. And then QuickBooks Online in the background will just automatically process those payments as those payments come due. Okay, this is really nice if you have somebody who is like on a payment plan and you're like, hey, you just need to kind of automatically pay me. Here's the payment link. Here's what I expect as far as like when you pay me, if you have like somebody who's overdue. And then that customer can say, oh, okay, well, this makes sense to me, or no, I can't do that. And then you can set up those recurring payments that way. Sales orders. So sales orders are what we create when we have a customer place an order from us. This is a place that you can essentially track those sales in progress. So we can say, all right, we've received this sales order. Is this order open or closed? Have we fulfilled this order? And then what's the payment status of this particular order? Have we invoiced or have we not invoiced? Because if we have not invoiced, that's a problem, right? Especially if we've fulfilled that order and then they were supposed to like pay before they got that order. Sales channels. This allows you to connect all those different areas that you're selling at to QuickBooks Online. So right here, this kind of graphic is really helpful to kind of explain it. But if you're selling like on eBay and Amazon and Shopify, you can connect all of those to QuickBooks Online and that data will be imported for you. One thing to keep in mind, those connections are not fail-proof. I have seen where those connections have glitched and the client is not logging into those or not catching the things that haven't come over, and then that can create issues for that client. So just keep in mind, these are pretty solid connections, but they do glitch, okay? QuickBooks payouts, this is where you're gonna be able to see those payouts coming from QuickBooks payments. So before we had to log into QuickBooks payments and see what we had coming out to match kind of those deposits. This is an area where you can check that right within QuickBooks Online. You have to have QuickBooks payments though. Again, another QuickBooks payments. Channel payout. So this is probably not gonna let me go in here. Yeah, it's gonna take me back to the sales orders because I don't have those sales channels connected. But those channel payouts, that's gonna help you kind of reconcile those deposits that come into those bank accounts. So, you'll have so many orders kind of bundled into a daily deposit, less your fees a lot of times. And that channel payouts will have the summaries there for you. Products and services, this is the same old products and services that we've had before. So this has stayed the same. This is where we can edit those products, edit those services, put costs and price and all of that good stuff in here. So as a kind of recap, this customer hub is essentially replacing CRMs. It's new, it's got some beta features, just use caution that you don't lose data utilizing this new customer hub. Really interesting that QuickBooks kind of decided to take over CRM. And I think that, a lot of this is going to be really nice for business owners once it's built out properly and it's not glitchy anymore. So go ahead and give it a try. I'll have videos on each of these. Just make sure you're backing up that information. And then we have the sales and get paid. This is a lot of information that we're used to, such as those sales transactions and invoice pages. And then, the products and services like what we're looking at right now. However, it's got a lot more features geared towards payments. So we have payment links, we have recurring payments, we have QuickBooks payouts, all living under the sales and get paid section. They're really pushing that QuickBooks payments. And then we also have channel payouts. Sales channels, we used to connect these like in the app area where we used to just connect, like the Shopify app to QuickBooks Online. It now lives here in the sales and get paid section. So that's kind of a rundown of the new QuickBooks Online layout. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. I am going to go ahead and record specific videos for each of these features over the next week or two. And then if you have any questions in the meantime, let me know. If this was helpful, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. Let YouTube know that you want to see more. And I will see you guys next time.